The Project Marvel debate is heating up, and, well, the mayor has some stuff to say, and, well, was everything she said correct?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back, and happy Wednesday. Hope y'all are having a great day. We appreciate you coming here to Locked On Spurs, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go do it right now. And what is that? Subscribe ASAP. Continue to be in it every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets right now. Yeah, well, I'm trying not to talk about Project Marvel as much, but it's just dominating Spurs fans' lips right now. That's all Spurs fans are talking about. The city of San Antonio is involved. The mayor had some opinions of her own regarding a future site. Well, should I say the future project of creating a new Spurs downtown arena. She didn't trip. She just quadrupled down on taking a strategic pause on everything. Spurs fans are chiming in. Let's just say majority of them are not happy about this right now. I promise you we'll get into some actual Spurs roster X's and O's players soon, but this is just really dominating the local scene right now. So for those of y'all who don't know what's going on, a quick, and this is going to sort of rapid fire this. All right. So the city of San Antonio, they want to refurbish, redo, remake the downtown area experience, which includes a new Spurs arena. It's not just that, it's an entire district. So think shopping centers, food, land bridge, redoing the Animal Dome. No, it's a major project that the city wants to do, and they approached the Spurs about being a part of it. Why? Because of the arena, and the Spurs are like, hell yeah, we're on board. So there's that, but it's kind of hit a little bit of a pitfall right now. It's just more like a possible pause, because the new mayor of San Antonio, Mayor Jones Ortiz, is basically, she wants everything just take a stop, take a breather. She's not saying end it. She's not saying stop this whole momentum. Well, she kind of is, but she's not saying stop the entire project. She just feels that numbers need to be reevaluated. Economic analysis needs to be redone. She's not totally on board with the Spurs having like one of their own economic impact consultation firms doing it. She wants an independent one. So it's creating a mess right now. And like I said, the project is not on hold right now. It is still going forward, but she recently had some comments to say about where she stands on that. We're going to get that in just a few minutes right now. So again, I may have left out some stuff, but what we're going to do today, we're going to hear from the mayor herself, what she has to say about the project. And then in the second segment, we're going to kind of clarify some things. Maybe, look at other NBA teams named the Thunder. And perhaps that's a better comparison than what the mayor tried to compare what was going on in San Antonio to what Philadelphia and the Sixers went through. Also, was there a letter sent from the Spurs to the mayor's office, or should I say the city manager's office, which was CC'd to the mayor and the rest of the council? There was. So we're going to look at that letter. We got so much to cover. So let's go and bring in our guest. Where is he? I think he's ready. I can see him backstage. There he is. Look who's back, everybody. Mr. Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. What's going on, Rudy?
What's going on, man? And, it's been a long hiatus. I haven't been on, feels like forever. And, yeah, man, I'm just glad to be back. It's a lot of Project Marvel talk that we've talked about on Sweeps a lot. And Civil War, I guess is something that is the words being thrown around. But I guess we can kind of break down if it's really that complicated and everything. So exactly. Hopefully we'll get to that, man.
Well, because we're in a feisty fighting mood, let's go to bring in your music there.
I get the walk-up.
Yeah, the walk-up. Get the walk-up music right there. Yeah.
I promise I probably won't get any bad, comments from the Locked On fans on this one.
Yeah, no, this I think the majority of fans are pro. Let's keep going forward with Project Marvel. Now, there is a small segment of Spurs fans that are saying, no, don't. The mayor is right. Let's take a step back and let's reevaluate everything. So there's that. But yeah, and Rudy, it's tough because I'm trying like to take a break from the Project Marvel stuff, but that's just dominating the offseason right now among Spurs fans right now. They're getting heated debates on social media.
Mhm.
The mayor held kind of a last minute Q&A session. We're going to hear from her in just a few seconds. It's ramping up, and what maybe should have been a celebratory thing of finally the Spurs possibly can from the east side to downtown is now turning into a political battle. So with that being said, let's hear from Mayor Jones Ortiz, and we'll be fair. We'll let her, in this case, this video you're about to say, her side of things, her viewpoint of what should be done with Project Marvel moving forward. So let's take a listen to what the mayor had to say.
What they did is they reviewed the summary findings of the Spurs consultant. And so I think that is, and I've shared that I think that's inadequate. Because what they did is say, hey, that number, that looks about right. But as you and I both know, it's not just about the number and it looking right. We've got to make sure the methodology also makes sense. We've got to be very clear about the assumptions, as has been laid out in that Philadelphia economic report. They lay out their assumptions, they lay out their methodology, they lay out how it's going to impact, the city's fund, et cetera. So that's the level of due diligence that our community also deserves. We're continuing to work with the Spurs to get some more fidelity on how are the guarantees going to be guaranteed. Ideally a cost for the arena. I think some were surprised, certainly as I heard, I think some were surprised that an arena, there is no such thing as an arena less than $1 billion. Like, I think folks were surprised to learn that number. And so if in fact, the arena can only, is only possible between 1.3 and $1.5 billion, well then, I mean, this is simple math. All of a sudden, that range of what the city contributes is not 350 to 500. If it's a 1.3 billion, you take away the 500 from the Spurs, you take away the 311 from the county, you're at 489, right? Minimum. So that's again, nailing down a cost for the arena is really important because it drives everything else. I think the other thing that was, I think, surprising for many as well is that, the Spurs in the letter that they provided, if you all remember, it was $500 million contribution. It was $500 million in guaranteed development, and then the $60 million in the CBA. And then less than a week and a half later, the guarantees rather were no longer $500 million. They were $900 million. And good, but we need to understand, if and this is why I asked during that session, if you knew the number was going to be 1.4 versus 1 billion, why not put that in the letter? And Bobby Perez said, oversight on our part. $400 million is 1/10 of our city's budget. We don't make $400 million oversights. If an independent economic analysis corroborates the numbers that the Spurs have provided, their consultant has provided, and that CSL has provided and other funds, then it corroborates it. And we can, I think, have the confidence to move forward. However, if it's different, right, then we should also understand that. And we need those things laid out. What were your assumptions? What are your data sources? Right? Help us understand how you got to that number, because it's not just the number. We really need to interrogate the assumptions that are being made there to ensure that we're all on board. Again, we have the time to do this. There is no rush. So we should take our time and do this smartly. The Spurs have indicated that they're going to, and they said actually that they may not need to leave the arena early. So we have the time to do this. We have the time to do this right. But let's be very clear. Okay? Bobby Perez at the last session just said we may not need to leave the arena early, which means we actually have now much more time to do this. So we should not impose on ourselves artificial timelines, and we should do our due diligence.
There you have it. Those are the words from Mayor Ortiz-Jones regarding her position on why she believes a slight strategic pause, quote unquote, is needed for Project Marvel. So let's go ahead and react to that. And then in a few minutes, we'll kind of clear some things up for fans who might be confused and maybe just understand the whole process a little better. So we'll discuss that in a bit. But immediately, what jumped out to me, Rudy, was the ending where she goes, "Oh, we have time to do this." And technically, yes, the Spurs lease doesn't end till like early 2032, 36 around there. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, prices in 2032 are going to be a lot more expensive than they are today. So why not start it now instead of having those overages and perhaps more funding needed down the road? So let's just say all this, negotiations don't get settled for the next couple of years. Well, maybe, businesses that are going to help construction workers, labor might be more expensive. So why not strike now, or at least ASAP as soon as possible versus down the road when this might be a bigger financial burden for everybody involved? Your thoughts?
So the biggest thing that you and a lot of people, I guess, realize and maybe not realize is her words are not really necessarily like a cryptic type thing. I mean, she is coming from where America's supposed to come. I think the overall thing, Jeff, is the fact that scared money doesn't make money. I mean, we all know that, or we've heard that before. And I think it's kind of like if you were going to purchase something that is going to affect, the outcome of, hey, we need to have money for this, we need to have money for this, we need more money for schools, roads, yada yada yada. The arena may not be the top of our agenda right now with other things pressing. It kind of goes into a personal standpoint of if you're going to make a big purchase, you want to make sure that everything else is taken care of first. And I think that's where the mayor is coming off of. Just do due diligence, make sure stuff is okay. We're in line. I think she's getting, I don't know necessarily she's putting a lot of pushback on the arena. I think she just wants to be careful, kind of tiptoeing. It's her first time being mayor as well. So I don't know her political background as far as being a mayor previously, as far as councilman, anything like that. I really don't know that. But what the thing that I think she's coming off of really is the fact that, just taking the time to see what is in front of us before we jump, dive head first into this project. Again, they have time, 2032. I think there's plenty of time that if it doesn't kind of pass now, they know where they stand. They have a little bit of time to vote a little bit more, get more details in. It's just kind of a waiting game at this point.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. But this is going to take a quick break and we'll continue this chat. We'll get to hear again. We'll just react to what she said a little while ago, and then maybe just clear up some things that I feel were not clear during her Q&A session. Is particularly the Philadelphia comparison. You'll hear what I have to say about that coming up right next, right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, August 26th is the official FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason schedules. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your time. So why not take a flyer on who will win the MVP race? Who's you going to crown as champion? Are you going to parlay your division winner dark horses? There's so many things you could do with FanDuel with NFL season upon us. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet right now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. Do that right now. And yeah, we're talking about Project Marvel. Just can't escape it. It is dominating the headlines right now in San Antonio. Spurs fans are all about it. And, just y'all can breathe a little sigh of relief. Majority of Spurs fans are on board with Project Marvel. They want to see it moving forward and seeing that potential new Spurs arena in downtown San Antonio. But there is a segment of Spurs fans that are saying no. What you heard from the mayor right now, she's absolutely right. And just to continue with that, Rudy, I see her point. She's doing her due diligence. I get that. She's a city leader. The last thing she needs to do is commit that kind of money, or at least the city council, I should say, not her, but the city council under her leadership, commit that kind of those bucks, and then, either, bankrupt the city. The city's already in bad shape right now financially, but make it even worse.
Absolutely.
And whatnot. So I understand that point. But there are certain things that I think need clarification. And I want to start off with the comparison to Philadelphia. Now, in her Q&A session, she kept on pointing to the Philadelphia 76ers. By the way, she called it the baseball team. I think she meant the basketball team.
My good luck.
Yeah. But that's not a very comparable comparison.
No.
If you're going to be looking at San Antonio to Philadelphia, Philadelphia's a larger market, more pro teams. If anything is more comparable is what the Thunder went through recently, what Oklahoma City went through to get their new Thunder Arena done. Think about it. Comparable in size.
Mm-hmm.
They're a one sports town team, just like San Antonio. So let's start off with that. And I have some notes here regarding that comparison, regarding OKC and San Antonio. So OKC began the public conversations about the new Thunder Arena in about July 2022. And then by December 2023, voters approved, get this, a $900 million, money, and 95, I'm going to repeat this again, 95% publicly funded arena. Okay? Mm-hmm. San Antonio started to say, remember, this is San Antonio, not the Spurs. San Antonio starting discussions about January 2023. Nearly 20 months later, they're still working on the framework. That's where we are right now. Yeah. So, and let's make this very clear. She also mentioned, what the Spurs Council, Perez had to say regarding, being quick about it, trying to get something done. The arena is projected to take the new Spurs Arena, about 60 months to build. Okay. Now that's making sure everything is ready following the November vote to keep the timeline on track. So if you want to keep it on track to reach it when the end of the Spurs lease is over, you got to start as soon as possible. But I want to go back to the OKC comparison here. You're talking about a deal here, a deal. The OKC Thunder was 95% publicly funded.
Yep.
For the Spurs potential new arena, zero public funding. It's all going to come from the hotel taxes, the rental car taxes, and a bunch of other little pockets of money here and there. And let's not forget too, the Spurs have stated, and we'll show you in a few minutes, that they're willing to invest over $1 billion in this effort. $500 million, I would hear, guaranteed to cover the cost of overruns. So they're not only going to fork in some money, a lot of money, they're also going to take care of any overruns, which we all know in construction, there's going to be overcharges. Oh, yeah. And then $500 million in adjacent downtown development. So not only going to help build the Spurs Arena, potentially one of the downtown, but also going to help build the stuff around it, like just developing around that arena. I mean, Rudy, if we just look at the OKC comparison to what the Spurs and what the city's kind of framework, that's a sweet deal so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a sweet deal considering OKC was 95% funded 95%,
by the public.
By the public. So, I mean, looking at a comparison between Oklahoma City and San Antonio, Oklahoma City right now, if I'm not mistaken, I've got numbers in front of me here, 702,000 people plus in Oklahoma City, where San Antonio is 1.4, almost 1.5 million people in San Antonio. So I look at the comparison as this, San Antonio's got a sweet deal. If it's not physically coming, as in publicly funded, where, the residents are getting, bombarded like Oklahoma City was, they were willing to do it, man. They're willing to put up whatever they could to get a professional team in Oklahoma City. When you are like that, you're going to do whatever it takes. I mean, look at Seattle. Seattle fumbled the entire arena thing. That's why the Sonics beat to Oklahoma City. They regret that. I think a lot of people in San Antonio feel the same way, that the Spurs and the city of San Antonio, if they don't come to agreement, the city of San Antonio is going to fumble that whole thing as well. But what people have to realize is that the funding is going to come through, hotel tax, rent a car tax, by renting cars and stuff.
Right.
It does affect people in San Antonio because, I've rented cars in San Antonio, obviously, to travel. So I do get hit with that tax eventually. For hotels, you've got family coming in, they got to stay at hotels, they're going to be taxed on that. It's going to be a little bit more expensive on that. But I do agree with you, man, being that it's not totally public, funds for San Antonio, it sure is a sweet deal, man. I mean, it really is a sweet deal. And, I think you're going to mention the Philadelphia thing right now. That would be a major talking point. And I get why she mentioned Philadelphia, Jeff, because Philadelphia is 6, San Antonio is 7.
Yeah.
But just by you comparing yourself to a big city like Philadelphia,
Yeah.
it's way bigger leaps and bounds than what the mayor's,
Yeah.
really considering.
Exactly. Yeah. What we, I again, you mentioned it, the 6 and 7 rankings for San Antonio and Philly, but again, it just looking at OKC, that seems to be a little bit more similar to San Antonio.
Very,
very similar. That's more comparable than Philadelphia. That's how much project they got? The Sixers, they got the Eagles, they got the Flyers, they got the Phillies. So yeah, they can handle it. Spurs are our one pro team town, just as OKC. And we're quickly about the Spurs covering overrun costs real fast. So the Spurs, again, have publicly committed to guaranteeing all costs. We'll show that in a bit for overruns in the arena. That means the city and the council, I have it right here, their financial commitment is capped. It's protected, even if construction costs rise. So, yeah, you kind of want to get this thing going. Let's get the vote in. And by the way, we want to make this very clear, everybody. The November vote that everybody's talking about is not to start like physical construction. That's just to see how it's going to get paid, how the money's going to get. That's very clear. So let's just make this very clear. There will be a public vote in November. Okay. This is where the San Antonio residents, they have a chance to vote. Right. And that will be key because, again, that vote is going to authorize the use of the tourism related funding sources for the project. And let's keep that in mind. It's a project, not just the Spurs Arena. It's an entire district that includes the Spurs Arena. Yeah. So far we got this. We got a better comparison city to city with OKC, right? We saw what OKC went through, how they're doing 95% publicly funded. Well, so far it looks like there'll be 0% publicly funded for residents of San Antonio, that is, to this new arena. All right. So then we have it up to the voters in November that just to vote on just how this is going to get paid for. All right. So there's that. So far, so good. It feels like we're on the right path. All right. Now, I want to talk to you about this. Again, 60 months for the project to get done. Yeah. Now, that go over probably, it always happens. But 60 months. So that's how many years is that? 60 months. 5. What is that? About 5?
About 5 years, yeah.
About 5 years. Let's go. We're in 2025 right now. So that'll push, if they were to get it done in if everything, so you figure what? They started probably break ground in 2026, maybe?
Just in time for them to be out of the lease.
Right. This is gonna, if they can get it started now, it'll be right up when they're going to hit the lease. So yeah, there is a little bit of urgency to get this vote passed and get everybody on board. Again, the timeline is crucial because everything that's essential to get this done needs to happen ASAP. So that means the public funding, not to the residents, but the other ways, the tourism and the rental cars, all that stuff. The private partnerships can get on board. All the legal mumbo jumbo gets done. The planning gets done. We can get this done ASAP and move forward. Now, it should be noted too that there are several council members, Rudy, that have been vocal about their support to push this Project Marvel moving forward. Via Graham was one. There's a couple others. If you go to my timeline on social media at X at Jeff G Spurzone, I released all the public statements so you can see that it's not just this is not a city council pushback or pause. It's a mayor. The mayor, she's being vocal about it, about putting a pause in it. And again, I understand where she's coming from, but time of the essence, and we got to get this done now. So you talk about just the ripple effect this will have because the city of San Antonio, they lost the NCAA Final Four, didn't they? I mean, the MSA said like it's been real, but we got to go somewhere else, right?
It's not like they lost them. It's just that the NCAA feels like San Antonio just doesn't evolve with the times. So, great. You've got a massive dome that's perfect for a Final Four because we can attract everybody and have a whole bunch of seating and everything. But it's 1990 Alamo Dome. It's not really up to par. So the NCAA is not saying no completely. They're just saying you need to upgrade something. You basically need to upgrade the dome, bring it to modern times, and then we will revisit the fact they're coming back. But adding the district, if you get the arena, you have the district around there, you upgrade the Alamo Dome, then you're talking about a a magnitude of events that could be coming back to San Antonio or to San Antonio for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. All-Star game could return. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is like really pie in the sky, but Super Bowl, maybe?
No, I would definitely say I'm not on that right now.
Not on that? Okay, all right. We're not there yet. But the point is that will push San Antonio at least on the path to that, maybe that sometime in the very distant future. One more quick thing before we take a break and continue, kind of understanding this a little better and, clarifying some things. I got it right here. I want to bring this up to everybody's attention. Took several notes about this, Rudy. Here we go. So, two things have to happen for everything to start good going, right? There has to be a public vote. So, Grammar mentioned that is because the mayor cannot just stop it unilaterally. Okay, she can't say, "Oh, I am mayor and I pause this Project Marvel." She can't do that. So, this would be up to a public vote. So, keep that in mind, okay? Now, the vote would only authorize the use of specific tourism-related funding sources, okay, for the project. So those are the two things to keep in mind. It's for a public vote and it's for tourism-related funding sources, okay? Now, anywhere does it say me, my neighbor, my family that lives in San Antonio or Bexar County, I should say, have to pay for it. So keep that in mind. All right, let's take a next break. We're not done with this topic, but other clarifications we got to get through. And so much more. We're talking about Project Marble right here on Locked On Spurs with Mr. Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. We've all been there, right? Logging on early, waiting forever, what feels like, for concert tickets to go on sale. But then you lose your spots for the show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not about the stress of ticketing shopping. Yeah, you don't want to be all shopping for tickets all day, right? You want to get it done quick and easy, right? That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop if it gets closer to showtime. You can save up to 60% off with killer last-minute deals. Like they got zone deals. They got the Game Time zone deal. Basically, they pick the best seats for you in your section. You get panoramic seat views, so there are no surprises. You got the Game Time guarantee. They got your back with cancellation protection and so much more. And the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees on Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That'll get you $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Rudy Campos. He is with Sweep the League. Follow him on it at Sweep the League. He'll brag about his show, Sweep the League, in just a few minutes. It's growing. It's growing. And there was no strategic pause for a Sweep the League. Rudy saw a vision, and he's making it happen. More on that. All right, again, we're talking about Project Marvel and clarifying some things, hearing from the mayors you did in the first segment, and, of course, us reacting to it. Before we keep on going now, some notes I kind of gathered for today's show. Why can't everybody just meet in the middle and just do everything at the same time? Why can't once the November vote comes in, but you can do an independent economic analysis if that's what the mayor wants, and break ground and get the ball going at the same time. If for some reason that economic impact analysis come back and it's way off from what the Spurs projected, okay, then you take your pause. Yeah. What about that, Rudy?
I like what you said there because it goes back to just doing your due diligence. I mean, you can say, hey, the economic impact is going to be in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions yearly for, with this whole Project Marvel thing. But if you have a third party come in and say, well, it's going to bring in hundreds of millions, but maybe not as quick as you're assuming, or maybe it's not quite up to 500 million. Maybe it's going to be 300 million. So I get that you want to do your due diligence, which is the most important thing that everybody wants their leadership to do before making a decision like this. But, at the same time, it's kind of like, I agree. You should have a medium here. Hey, you know what? Go ahead and get, your third party analysis, get it done. If the people of San Antonio vote and say, hey, we do want Project Marvel, continue to do your work on it. Do your research on it. They've approved it. Let's work towards just getting started on the project itself. Eventually, it's all going to come together. And I think what the basic premises about everything is the one question that the Spurs haven't really answered, nor has City Council answered, that I think a resident would want to know is, how is all this going to affect me? That is the big question that I think if you are a resident of San Antonio, Bexar County, you want to know is that answer. How does this affect me? If it doesn't affect me as far as property taxes or anything like that, then I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot more of the older generation who are kind of the ones that are against this right now. They may think, okay, I see where you're coming from now. Maybe we'll vote yes on it now. But I think that's the biggest question is, how does it affect the resident? It's not so much that they know it's going to bring in money. I mean, they know it's going to be a big project. They want to keep San Antonio Spurs around. Everybody wants the positive side. They just want to know that one answer is, how does it affect me? If it doesn't affect me and you promise that it won't affect me, if it's in writing, it's yes all day.
Yeah, well, you couldn't think of a better segue about in writing.
I know how to do that with you.
You know how to do that. You know that pretty well. All right. So, again, we'll go over some of the other notes I got for y'all just to clarify some things, but I definitely want to wrench something up. I believe the mayor was talking about, well, we don't have anything in writing, what are you talking about? We don't know what the Spurs commitment is. They have actually sent a letter. They sent a letter, the Spurs, that is, Peter J. Holt, the owner there, to the city manager and CC'd the mayor and the rest of the city council. Okay, now it's been shared publicly. All right, so it's out there. I'm not breaking any rules here, so keep that in mind, everybody. So here's a snippet of what it is, and you can see in writing. There it is. There it is, everybody. There you go. I'm going to just paraphrase here. Reiterate commitment from Spurs sports and entertainment investors and future development partners. Look at that. Over $1 billion for this effort. You see the breakdown there. 500 million guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. Adjacent downtown development. So again, they're committing to Haven helping beyond the arena. And look at that. Community initiatives there. $60 million. So there you have it. There it is right there. Right there, quote, the $60 million draft community benefits package includes, the following proposals. And I cut that off. But again, that just shows the Spurs are willing to go above and beyond, not just a new court, new house, but outside of that arena into the community. So there you have it. So the mayor was informed about a commitment letter, or a term letter, I should say. Again, yeah, there it is right there. The commitment is in writing, and you can't get more clear than that. A couple other things too here. You just got to reiterate is that, again, no cost overages on the city and the county's part. Spurs will take care of that. Check. No residents' taxes are going to be increased, unlike OKC, where it was 95%, publicly funded by the residents. So check on that. All right, 2. Again, going above and beyond the arena, adjacent development and then community initiatives. Check. All right. She mentioned that the Spurs do not have a sense of urgency to get this done. Well, as a matter of fact, they do. They do. They do have a sense of urgency because of the lease. And again, what the Spurs council, Bobby Pettis, mentioned, I believe a couple of weeks ago in one of the city council sessions, is, it's going to take about 60 months to get done. So the timeline, again, they've got to match the timeline to when the Spurs current lease at the Frost ends. So the sooner you get that done, so they don't have any issues down the road, because this, just the arena alone is going to be a task, not to mention just the whole district. So, it takes time. So, again, that timeline makes it essential that everything gets done as soon as possible. There's so many people involved. There's the private partnerships I mentioned, the mechanisms that need to be triggered to get things going, the construction costs, the bidding, all that stuff. This is a big, big task. Yeah. And one thing she mentioned in that Q&A session she had is, San Antonio needs to act like the 7th largest city. Well, I cannot picture a better way to act like the 7th largest city than having a downtown, Rudy, that looks like that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that artist rendering. I mean, the new arena looks phenomenal, right? But my God, that dome, man, that dome really catches my eye. That dome
That's what I'm
really
talking. The
catches my eye.
dome. Yeah, the upgrades to the dome. That's what the NCAA wants to see, along with additional suites for everybody that's coming in. So that looks great on a concept. And
This
that's
is
the
just a
thing.
concept, everybody. This is just a concept.
Are we going to see the arena like that, and then the dome just kind of the way it is now? I mean, the thing too is the concept's got to match. You've got to get it as close to that as possible in order to attract everybody you want to attract back to the Alamo Dome. But
Right.
I mean, yeah, man, it's it's great in pictures and everything. I think a lot of us knew it was going to get messy, and I think a lot of us knew that it was
still
going to
gonna get
be.
messy. It's still gonna get messy.
It's going to get very messy, and
Mhm.
I'm glad the Spurs, reiterate, what they said, that they are contributing, and it is a lot. I mean, it
Mhm.
really is a lot, but it comes back to, like you said, there's the taxes aren't going to be increased on
Of the
residents
yeah,
of San
yeah.
Antonio. But to bring up an old point, Jeff, there was that via bus tax.
Mhm.
It increased, fare for via buses. That does affect residents, and it actually, in most cases, it affects the lower income residents of San Antonio, because that's their main transportation. And not only that, I mean, you've got certain levels that are affected every day with taxes rising and stuff like that. So maybe property taxes don't go up to help build the thing, but little other taxes may help
Mhm.
with building of the Project Marvel. It's just a lot to know. I think what it is once they get it in paper and everybody sees it, then I think you're gonna have a better
Yeah.
understanding on which side of the fence everybody's on.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it reminded me here again, the public funding is not going to be diverted from other publicly funded services the city provides. So
Okay. Yeah.
housing, public safety, education. So again, this is about creating new revenue from new activity, not
Mhm.
diverting existing funds. So keep that in mind. Again, local taxpayers, they're not going to foot the bill.
Yeah.
Not going to foot the bill. Again, public funded sources. So again, that's occupancy taxes, rental cars, hotel taxes, just think tourism related stuff. Just think that. Okay. So keep that in mind too. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be clarified too. And let's go on some other notes I got here. So a couple of things we got to keep in mind here. Very important things, right? So the term sheet that y'all just saw right now, when I could have put the entire thing on there, but basically that what you saw, is that the city staff drafts it, right? And and it's non-binding. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that means that the Spurs and the county are part of negotiations, but the city staff drafts it and then presents it to council. So the Spurs, they say their part, as you saw, and then from there, the staff puts something together, and then they present it to council. It's not the Spurs. All right, here it is. Here's our thing. We give you all. It's not that. That's the process. So keep that in mind. Other things too is that regarding the independent economic analysis versus what was it, CSL, I believe that's the name of the firm that the Spurs used.
I believe so. Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. That's about. That's the only one part I kind of get. I understand with her. I understand that. That's about the only one I have, but I'm pretty much sure that these things are expensive, aren't they? I'm pretty sure. I'm sure the one, ask the city of Philadelphia how much these economic impact analysis cost. So they're not cheap, and if the city is already, well, at least majority of city residents and most of the city council want to get this thing going. Why not get going right now? You already have a plan provided by the Spurs. The Spurs did that extra work for the city. They went above and beyond. They saved the city some money. Do you want to go with that, or do you want to spend more money on an independent thing? And, some people might say, yeah, that's what it's called being a leader, is doing your due diligence. So there's that as well. But even if that's like an issue and you put it on a scale, it still leans heavy favor to a good deal. What do you think, Rudy?
Yeah, it's gonna go in the balance of a good deal. Overall, I mean, I know when I've done sweeps and we've talked about Project Marvel, I played the middleman a lot of times, and that's the only reason why I do it, because I can play the middleman. But if you ask me personally, I think it's a great deal for San Antonio. I mean, I'm sad because the Frost Bank Center in that area didn't quite do exactly what they were wanting and hoping it would do. So I get the frustration on that. I'm not the only one. It's a lot of people that live in San Antonio that are frustrated by that. But can you live and learn? Yeah. Can the Spurs come out and say, you know what? We apologize for that. We're going to help somehow still develop that area. I mean, we'll do what we can for it. But overall, the entire Project Marvel, in my personal opinion, yeah, it is something in order for San Antonio to take that next step and to attract more events and the possibility of attracting another team, whether it be MLS or, whatever, it's got to be taken. And I'm a lone person in this, and I know of other people I don't know. I haven't heard of or talked to them, but
Yeah.
this has to involve the San Antonio Missions as well, because you've got to get them out of where former Kelly Air Force Base used to be on, off of Highway 90. If you can bring them into Project Marvel somehow, and
I thought they were moving downtown, aren't they?
Well, if it's on this concept that we're looking at, I don't see it, and I've yet to hear about it. So if they can somehow get worked in, the possibilities of an MLB team coming to San Antonio go that much higher, because again, you've got the sports and entertainment district. MLB is going to fall in love with that idea. So again, on paper, it's great. The project, it's fantastic. I understand the reasoning behind it, but I also see why, Mayor Ortiz Jones is saying, hold on, like you say a lot, pump the brakes a little bit. I'm not stopping the whole train. I'm pumping the brakes just because I want to make sure that San Antonio first is taken care of before we actually go forward. You cannot fault her for that. I don't agree with it a lot of times, but I understand as mayor of a city, you've got to do your due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so, just a quick clarification around the letters, term letters, and, our term sheets and Spurs letter. Again, the Spurs letter reflected the commitment to them. Okay.
Yeah.
To this project. The term sheet is what the city kind of puts together, and they work together. So they'll take what the Spurs said, and then they'll do their thing, and then they'll present it. That letter isn't just, all right, here's our letter. I mean, yeah, sure, they're going to show it to the city council, but it's not at the big picture thing. That's not,
it's a rough draft.
It's a rough draft. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. So keep that in mind going forward. Also, too, cannot stress this enough. There's going to be no additional risk to the city, the county, beyond its commitment. So again, whatever the city's going to, donate or just contribute to this, that's it. Goes there. So they say, okay, we're going to donate $10, then $10 it is. And if it costs more than that, the Spurs are going to take care of it. So keep that in mind. So again, good.
I was just going to say, this is a suggestion, and I told you I would not get cooked on this episode of Locks, but this is maybe a cooking suggestion here that I may get cooked on. But a while back, you and I know during the Hemisphere days, the Alamo Dome days, one of the low points that people didn't realize in getting into the Frost Bank Center was, remember when they had pay-per-view games for home games? They had to buy for pay-per-view. One of the stipulations was no more pay-per-view games. That games were going to be available on local TV. Now, in the modern times of streaming, a lot of us don't like Bally Sports and all this other stuff. So wouldn't one thing to be is, okay, you've got a Spurs app, right? I mean, one way to fund a lot of this, how many people are going to actually purchase a $10 a month app, and it's continuous revenue for $10 a month, and you get to watch Spurs games on that? I mean, there's multiple ways to get more money into this somehow. And it's just a very small thing, but it actually makes sense because, again, you're trying to work with the city of San Antonio. You're trying to get this and that. And again, it's probably so small revenue wise when it comes to Project Marvel, but it's the little things that you do for fans and citizens of San Antonio that sometimes make a big difference. Because for me, when they said no more pay-per-view games, we're going to make all games available on cable.
Right.
That was a massive selling point for my family because we hated paying for pay-per-view games all the time. So there's little things like that that I think the Spurs and the city can kind of, mainly the Spurs, can kind of agree upon. But, overall, it's the fact that the residents just want to know, hey, how are we going to be affected? If it's going to affect me where I have to dish out more money in the long run or in the end, that's where the pushback's going to be. So hopefully it just gets resolved at some point.
Hey, I left this image here on purpose for a while so we can look at it. You see that land bridge at the kind of like the bottom rightish?
Yeah.
You see it? But isn't there already a bridge already? Like
there's some, it's a bridge, but it's a bridge. Oh, this one seems to be like it's going to take majority of the whole Alamo Dome side of the whole 281 out there. So
because the bridge is on the opposite side. If you're looking at the artist rendering right now, if you look,
it's more towards the the River Center Mall side.
Yeah, it's on that side. So it just to help everybody, it's like facing, like it's on the, I guess the upper left corner.
Yeah,
that area. So I mean, do you really need a new bridge? I mean, there's already one there. We fix that up, I guess. I don't know. I'm just thinking about ways to save costs here. That's all, people. I'm just thinking of ways to save costs here.
That's not our job to save costs, man. It's our job to debate it.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the Spurs in the county, city, they're all part of negotiations, but again, just remember the term sheet, the city drafts it and then presents it to city council. So that's on the city's job to do it, not the Spurs. So again, there may be some confusion there as well. So ultimately, it comes down to why not just do this? Why not just go ahead? Why the stalling? That's something I don't understand. I understand her point of view. Due diligence. I get that, but you can do both. You can do your due diligence and push forward. You don't have, one doesn't have to go at first before the other. You can't do this together. I mean, the city and the county's financial commitment is going to be capped. Overcharges are going to be on the Spurs side. It's for the Spurs commitment, as you saw, the letter, it's beyond the arena. It's helping to, create that district around the arena, and then public initiatives, community initiatives money there, $60 million, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, and who knows, maybe other potential partners could pop up, between now and then to help, invest in this effort here. So it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Again, if you want to be, she said, you want to be a big boy, then, put on those pants and let's get this done. Let's start ASAP. But you've told me before, Rudy, you're kind of worried about the November election, aren't you?
I actually am kind of worried about it. I leaned a lot more on the side of it probably not passing. Again, let me reiterate something here. I don't live in San Antonio currently, so my opinion doesn't really mean a whole lot. I'm just kind of spitting facts with you guys and just kind of making light out of everything here. So I don't have a vote technically, but the way I look at stuff here is I've leaned more towards it not passing based on what is presented right now.
Right.
I'm leaning that it doesn't really pass right now. There's so many people that are seeing and asking so many questions and seeing things that feel it's going to affect them. I mean, one thing you said, not to mention, they say no taxes, residents are going to be affected by taxes, property taxes in that area. You have a lot of people in that area that live there that will continue to live there. How are they going to be affected by property taxes in that area? Because obviously if Project Marvel's a massive upgrade to the area, so they've got to raise taxes, you would think. So there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people are questioning that probably never questioned in the past. But as of right now, I think it's going to be a very tough election. If it passes, it's going to pass by the smallest of margins that we've seen ever, probably. Unless, like I said, unless more comes out and more people's minds are put to ease. All in all, I'm worried about November, but eventually I feel like it's going to pass, or come the election, everything's going to be on the table and it'll pass then.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the voters, they have to approve this, okay, at the polls in San Antonio in November, Bexar County, I should say. right? And then the Spurs have to make good on their commitment, as we showed you all a little while ago, the letter that was sent to, the city manager and mayor and the rest of the crew, the city council there. So again, if it does not happen, okay, there will be no financial commitment from the city, as the term sheet, the one the city has to make, becomes non-binding. So there's nothing really to lose and everything to gain. Everything to gain. Yeah. I mean, look, is there probably going to be more battling about this? Yeah. If you live in downtown San Antonio, you already see signs popping up on residences' lawns. And, they know to Project Marvel and everything. If you look on social media, the bulk of the fan base and San Antonians, I should say, are saying yes to Project Marvel. I mean, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? I mean,
you're waiting for, how does it affect, a resident? That's what it comes down to, man. I mean,
but we just said right here, it's not going to impact them financially.
So you say, though, we don't know for sure. There's nothing finalized. Until it gets finalized, I'm not going to lie, a resident's not going to believe anything until they see it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is a guarantee, because like you say, you have a rough draft now, mm-hmm. and it looks great. But when you buy a car, do you really know everything about that car, what you're paying for? Oh, well, guess what? At the very bottom, you're going to have to pay for this fee, which is $1,000 added to the car at the end. Well, no, my original price was $39,000. Now it's $48,000. Why is that? Well, there's other fees and stuff like that. So I think until it's finalized, then a residence will be like, okay, now I got everything. And I think that's what it comes down to primarily.
All right. Well, we're running out of time here. So let's quickly look at some Locked On Spurs fan comments that are being left on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page regarding this, this debate regarding Project Marvel, cost, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I thought the offseason was to be nice and quiet.
That's what I thought.
Jeez. All right. We don't got time for one comment, unfortunately, but let's go ahead and read it. This is from at X457. Let me get it up here because they put a lengthy one. Oh, actually, a lot of Spurs fans were talking about this. Woo! You know what? X457, you left a thesis. I don't think I have time to read all of it. So let me get a shorter one here. Oh, my goodness. These comments are long. They're like papers in college or economics class here. Okay, here we go. This is from, actually, we're going to go with Brandon P8684. He says, I'm glad I watched this. So basically what he meant by that is I put what the mayor had to say on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, because some of the info being out there for public consumption made the mayor sound bad. Interesting. She brought up a lot of good points and is correct about taking their time and looking through everything 100% before signing off on anything. I hope this gets approved because it would be great building up the downtown. So there's that comment. And then we have one from Daniel Sanchez, OG40X. I guess she, the mayor, plans to root for the Las Vegas Spurs. So as you can see right there, that's a nutshell right there. You got some Spurs fans they're okay with what the mayor had to say. And you got some Spurs fans say like, oh, we know what she's trying to do. She's going to force the team to move. What's going on here? And then you got the ones in the middle, again, kind of reflected by the first one we saw, where they're saying, oh, the mayor made good points, but hope it gets approved. So there's somewhere in the middle. Is there a happy middle right now, Rudy?
Yes, there is. There is. Because I think right now San Antonio is 50-50, maybe 41 or 49-51.
Yeah.
So there is a median there. I think in person, people don't want it. You mentioned on social media, people want it. So that's the happy medium right there. There's a middle part. Again, at the end of the day, everything's probably going to get worked out. Mm-hmm. I honestly think the Spurs are going to probably pony up a little bit more money at the end of this. And I think that's what the mayor's waiting for, to just say, well, I think if you pony up just a little bit more, then we'll make this happen. I think she just, it's like a business, man. You want to get the best product and the most you can for as little bit as possible. And I think that's what she's doing. But it's gonna get done. I think the medium is there. I think it's just more of back and forth banter by residents, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good debate to have. It affects everybody in some bad way or good way. At the end of the day, San Antonio's they're gonna have Project Marvel, and it's gonna be a great day for San Antonio.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I hope that day comes soon because it's back and forth, man. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's impromptu Q&As by the mayor. It's, he says, she said. It's city council X, Y, and Z forward, and fans are battling on social media. It's something that should be good is turning into kind of a little bit of a fight right now. But which is kind of surprising to me, Rudy. I thought, everybody would be like, yay, let's start this. Now we're like, whoa, here we go. We got some pushback, but look, there it is. You heard from the mayor. We clarified some points on the show to show that it's not all bad, everybody. Yeah, look what happened in Thunder. That's a comparable, market size, and they got it done. Hey, but guess what? Unlike them, 95% publicly funded, it's 0% publicly funded in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. How about this? Yeah, the time is of the essence, a 60-month project. Yeah, and Spurs lease is coming up soon, so there's that to keep in mind. And again, the city's going to be capped on money, That's it. Anything that goes over, the Spurs got their back. They'll take care of it. And then the Spurs say we got some commitments to the community, to the district itself, not just there. I mean, it just all makes sense. Yeah. Hopefully it'll get done ASAP. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Let me guess, Rudy, you're going to be talking about Project Marvel on Sweep, or you're all going to be the one show that's not going to be talking about this to give everybody a break?
I think we'll probably hit on it a little bit, but we've got other.
It's just dominated right now in San Antonio.
Well, I think we've talked about it enough in the past couple of weeks that we're going to have
I haven't talked about what she's just said recently. I mean,
no, definitely haven't. That actually may happen this week. Yeah. The biggest thing we've got going on is we've got our NFL and NCAA preview for the season coming up. NFL's right around the corner with the regular season. NCAA right around the corner with regular season. Coach Gio, myself, and a few others are going to be breaking down a lot of the football stuff. You kind of get you out of the Project Marvel stage of sports right now in San Antonio. Yeah. But then again, for you Cowboy fans, you may want to stick with Project Marvel because the Cowboy season doesn't look very good right now.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, on the next episode of Locked On Spurs, we're going to try to get away from Project Marvel. So hopefully
nothing. What's a betting line on that? Because I don't know if you're going to get it.
I was hoping to not do this for today, but then what happened a couple days ago?
Yeah.
That erupted.
I'll say this. Jeff texted me and said today's subject was going to be what was the best Spurs team of all time. Oh, man. But then I got a last minute text that said, "Oh, wait a minute, we got to do Project Marvel."
Yeah. Well, I mean, geez, I mean that rewind the show. All right, be here with that tape. You watch what she said in the beginning of the show. Rudy, thank you so much for hopping on here on Locked On Spurs. Sure. Make sure to follow my next at Sweep the League and subscribe to this show on YouTube. Sweep the League. There we go. Too many S words there. So again, Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. And everybody else, thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kinsby, Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Subscribe right now. You guys are the everydayers. Keep it going. Keep those subscription numbers up and up. We'll be back sometime the end of this week. Hopefully with no Project Marvel stuff. We'll get back on track. Talk about the Spurs roster movement, blah blah blah. We'll get into all that. Still the slow period of the offseason, but we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.